Hey guys, Twelve58 here. Today I actually want to get into another frequently asked questions video. We're going to go through the comment section. We're going to read 3 different comments from 3 different videos and we'll see what you guys are interested in. I'm looking for critiques, for questions, for anything that's really got some meat on the bones. And I do this regularly, so if you're interested in having your question answered, leave it in this video even and I will maybe grab it next week. All right, let's grab it into it. I have not looked at the comment section yet. I will tell you in advance while we're pulling it up that my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Twelve58, and you can just call me 12. Thank you for the comments, but leave those IGNs. Nice. Silence. I just checked out Silence's video. I think it's got to be the same. The Silence. P Silence, in fact. And there was a video you just did, bro, on... you were talking about why you buy Rebellion now or you buy it later. And so check out, I'm going to click on this and see if that is in fact the same account. Yep. So sub a channel, guys. I watched this. Where is it? It'll probably be red. I watched this video. The future of Rebellion. Why you may not buy now, but you will need it later. And it was a great video. 16.5 minutes. Amazing content. I have not seen any of your videos before now. Of course, I know you from even like our chat with, who was that? Where did we meet? The team invited us all on. So great conversation even there, but definitely enjoyed this video and I'm going to be watching more of your stuff. I subbed and you guys should too. Check them out. But let's see what you said in the comment section. So in this video, I was talking about prices will crater after this. And I was talking on that video about that. Now I definitely am exaggerating with that thumb, but you know how it goes. I do think there's a space for believing that Rebellion prices will decline after the conflict ends. And that means at the end of the pack release. So that's unusual and it's different and it's like kind of upside down because usually you would imagine the prices of a card or packs increase when the accessibility to that supply stops. But I'm saying maybe there's going to be an opposite reaction because conflicts might create a pronounced desirability for holding those assets, both the cards or the packs, until the conflicts are over, which is 9 months. And then at that moment, when the Rebellion pack is done being issued, no longer being circulated, no longer being printed or opened for that matter, that might be a place where you surprisingly see a price decline because there's a loss of utility. Let's see what Silence had to say. Well, I can't believe I wasn't subbed to you yet. Well, that's funny because I wasn't subbed to you. I watch most of your videos. Thanks, man. I don't know how I missed that. I think you're spot on with this. And the further into the airdrop we are, the further we are into the airdrop, the further the prices will fall. They may pick back up at rotation, especially if there weren't enough packs open for the player base. This is I'm gonna focus in on this part here. I think there's something really powerful that he's saying there. But let's keep finishing his comment first. And as everyone scrambles to replace their cheap rotated Chaos Legion with Rebellion plus next set, this is such a great addition to the conversation, and it actually is interestingly connected to, in some sense, I think, to the video I just pointed to a moment ago on his channel. I won't spoil what he has to say in there, but go watch that 17-minute video. Great content. I'll say though, in this context, as we say, I think I made a reasonable point for why those Rebellion assets will lose utility at the end of the airdrop and why that could impact prices. But he's raising a point here. If there weren't enough packs opened for the player base, that means like in the meantime, while we're opening Rebellion, it's conceivable that there just isn't enough buying pressure in this moment. Like, think of maybe there's a lack of financial liquidity because, SPS is at 2.3 cents and not 5 10 or 20 cents. So that's one reason. Lack of money, meaning a lack of purchase, meaning later lack of supply because they're being burnt if they're not being bought. And so in one sense, it can be not enough. He says if there weren't enough packs opened, you have to think about that phrase, there's not enough, from 2 different angles. One, that there's not enough for the existing player base is one angle, meaning that, again, lack of money, lack of financial, let's say, boon that has come to the Splinterlands space that could translate into rotation into Rebellion for the existing players. If there's 10,000, 20,000, I don't know, 5,000 real active individuals playing this game. I don't know the number, but it's you know, it's something in that range, I think. And if we say that that's so, you know, we have to understand that each of them who wants to reach the highest levels needs thousands of packs. And I actually don't know that we are buying even that amount, like to satisfy that ultimate demand. And now some of that demand has already been spent at the beginning. Some of it will be spent today and over the next 9 months, but some of it is actually never going to be realized because those people are going to find other opportunities or be distracted by this or by that. Arcade Colony is kind of cool and exciting. Mooncart I'm excited about. Even Soulkeep is, I'm like, as that's become more and more off the radar, I'm more and more interested in it. Buying more and more Chaos Legion gold foils, especially because they're so inexpensive and long term. I think from a land perspective, plus like a long term investment in the scarcity on those, there's just a million opportunities to chase after, which means that the existing player base probably doesn't get the satisfaction or the fullness of what they need from Rebellion. So that's one element of how we might not get enough packs opened, even for our own player base now. But then you have to remember that the player base can grow radically, and I actually believe it will grow radically. I'm talking like 100x of where our player base currently is. I actually believe that's possible. I think more than that's possible. I think games like this have millions of users. Now we have barriers, we have hurdles that are unique to us. Certain people are skeptical about blockchain. People don't want to understand private keys, public keys. Putting money into crypto can be onerous and difficult because of government regulation, and it's different across different companies. All these things are barriers to seeing the sort of realized growth of player base that I'm saying is possible. But between here and the future, you actually don't know what solutions can come to make some of those barriers removed. And I actually think the team is doing a great job. I think the vision is being executed to a large extent, if not, even though it's not to a perfect extent. I also think that their commitment is just 100%. I don't see or hear any sort of half-heartedness when I listen to every one of the town halls. Everyone, Matt, Nate, Gator, Investigator, the team just is so committed, putting in extra hours and loving this for their own sake. And so that passion to me will carry this. And so I'm seeing, I have this prediction of a radical growth in player base, which means if there's not even enough for the existing player base, how could there ever be enough for that growth, for the theoretical growth? And so from those perspectives, I definitely see long-term price appreciation for Rebellion. So the vision, when I say crater after, it's definitely not a permanent never go up again. I think you see maybe 3 million packs of Rebellion sell. And even if it's the most, like if it's 4 or 5, like that alone across 5 to 10 years is not going to be enough. But I actually think it's going to be 2 to 3 million sell, and you're going to find there will be a decline after the utility of airdrops, and then you'll see this growth because player base grows, new players want it, even people with multi accounts want access to more and more of them, etc. And that consolidation, the burning of BCX, you know, it just creates a lack of supply and simultaneously with the increased demand. So, and this is the final point, that the tension in lack of supply will be exacerbated as not just player base grows, which is a component of demand, but actually as other cards get rotated out, which creates unique demand for an extra unique utility for Rebellion. If you're relying on Chaos Legion and you're fighting in Modern, what happens when Chaos Legion rolls out of that space? That's the real key question. How does that, if you're relying on, like even just look at one Splinter, you're relying on tanks from the blue team. Demon Shark, I suppose, is the main one. Deep Lurker, amazing opportunity card. 2 of the best cards in the blue team. What happens when they're out of the Modern? Because people are going to want to fight in the Modern. It's got an equal reward pool to the Wild, right? What does that mean? How does that translate to now buying pressure in order to excel or even just sustain yourself within the Modern League because you see a unique opportunity within the Modern League? All those reasons point to, I think, 2 degrees of lack of supply. We don't have enough for our existing player base. The player base will grow and utility will grow beyond, like utility will fall when airdrops end, but then utility will grow when Chaos Legion rolls out of Modern. Love that comment. Thank you for the comment. And guys, check out his channel. Let's keep going. Okay. Okay, let's see what John's got to say here. This was a video that was fun to record because there was actually a recent video, another content creator. This is gonna be a video filled with shout outs to other people. People's Guild, amazing content. The People's Guild. Most of you probably already know, but the People's Guild, great content. You know, not as regular. Every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, I don't know. But good stuff like Yabat, Rogue, Virus. You know, I've been on there. Everybody that you know from Splinterlands has been on this thing. And great conversations, very amazing conversation. In fact, I want to specifically highlight this video, a conversation with Yabat, and it's their second time having him, which is, you know, kudos to them. But I would say that I want to point out two things. One, the conversation was full of important stuff that if you're interested in Splinterlands, you're going to want to hear. And that's often the case with all of their content. The people they get have important things to say. And it's actually every conversation is filled with these unique angles that I always personally find value in. But one other thing I want you to know about this channel and these guys is that the questions I hear them ask seem so well prepared and thought out. You judge for yourself, but just watch this one video if you haven't before, and judge for yourself. I think you're going to hear comments and questions from these two guys that really provoke an amazing and exciting conversation. So check it out. I enjoyed this one. And on this video, Yabat, around the 1 hour mark, I forget exactly where. There's a spot where I think it might be here, 1 hour 8 minutes, 1 hour 9 minutes. Where Yabat comes in and says, land 1.5 in its current situation is boring. That was his word. And I spoke to that and I said, look, you know, I understand what he's saying. It's going to be much, much better one day. But also I think right now I wouldn't use that language because frankly, I see some amazing opportunity. And with land 1.5, sometimes we forget that it's not just like the rank experience is not just an auto brawler. The land game is not just click on claim, right? You come in here, you go harvest all, I click on grain claim. That's not just the game. The game is more also about the preparation, the thoughtfulness and anticipation of, right? Building the right deck, getting the right cards with the right bonuses at the right levels to maximize how you can extract, but then also finding ways to get the right amounts of DEC that are required in order to do that. All that is a thoughtfulness within an economy, which I argue is a game within the game. And that was my point within that video. He says it's boring. I disagree for those reasons and more. John comes in and says, we all knew that land was going to be set and forget before 1.5 launch. Anyone lamenting that fact now wasn't paying attention. That's a good point. Sometimes we do get, I want to say right there, John, I think sometimes the audience and the community, they start to feel it's going to be like we're thinking 10 steps down the road sometimes. And we do believe that it will get there. And so out of that posture of confidence that we will get there, when we're one step down the road, we start feeling like, you know, why haven't we gotten there yet? Because we already have the mental image of we will realize land 2.0 and beyond. And so then we start to feel like, why haven't we already? And that starts to be the comments that I see in Discord or on the town halls. The questions are like, you know, even around Soul Keep's a good example. Soul Keep, people feel salty about how Soul Keep hasn't gone forward. And frankly, I would love to see Soul Keep come out, man. It seemed, I didn't ever test it, but it seemed playable. And I don't want to go down too much down this rabbit hole, but I'll just say it's the same idea where we know it's going to be real, or I feel super confident it's going to be activated, realized, put into play. It's going to be awesome. Those are my confidences, maybe not yours. Same with land 2.0. I really believe we're going to get there. There's going to be some amazing, cool things that happen, like the 50 different liquidity pools, the grain liquidity pool. What that's going to do for the tokenomics in the game is exciting. So as I feel confident that we're going to get there, it's like, but when? And it starts to be this gnawing question. And so people do, even though we know that what you're saying is right, like it was just going to be 1.5 set and forget, but people are fussy about it not being 2.0 already because it's been you know, and they'll go back and say like, I bought the land in 17, 18, 19, I forget when that was, but you know what I mean? It's like, they start just kind of, it's a fuller picture of, but I want it now. And I feel I have merit and justification for being frustrated. And so they just express it in that way of like, you know, it's never going to happen. And that's just the way, I think that's the way sentiment works, you know, and that's why I don't get upset about that. What I do when I hear that sort of sentiment change, or that sort of like I've been telling you guys on the channel recently with Chaos Legion gold foils, people are saying Chaos Legion's gonna move out of the modern. There's too many copies. I already have that. You know, they're chasing after the shiny new thing with respect to Rebellion, or maybe to Rift Watchers still. And all of that is not, to me, it's just like an indicator of how I can go over there in Chaos Legions and take advantage of a certain thing that everyone seems to dislike. I feel that way about Soulkeep. If you guys are upset, you think it's taking too long, I want to move toward it, because it's like, you're probably going to sell me for a good price, those packs. Same with LAM. If I hear too much critique, complaint, where's 2.0? It's taking too long, it's too boring, etc. I just say opportunity. I think to myself, if the sentiment shifts on that and everyone's saying land is so amazing and it's life-changing, that's like a sell indicator. And I think when you start looking at it from that perspective, it doesn't become a point of frustration. And maybe I'm hearing a little bit where you feel, you know, there's a bit of judgment perhaps, John, on people who walk in that sort of conflict and frustration. And I would encourage you, John, to just try and look at it, rethink about it. If they're speaking that way, it means the moon hasn't come yet. But when the public generally starts saying, wow, land is amazing, that's actually that place where you don't want to be holding all of your land. You want to make moves into that, because that sentiment shift is absolutely indication. Now, you have to be wise about when that is, and you have to really have your sort of finger on the pulse. But do you see what I'm saying? It's like, I don't get fussy about other people's frustrations. I just look at them as an indicator of where we're at. Now let's go forward, and you say, in my opinion, land is an afterthought for any players until we know how the eventual outcome of land spells will look like. Yep, that's probably true. And how to get there. Right now, the end game of land is click to collect. Yes, that's true. It's maybe a bit. I think you're simplifying. Because I would argue, again, there's a whole game within the game on land. The preparation, the right card selection, the DC acquisition, etc. All that is thoughtful and difficult, and so it's more than just click and collect. However, I see what you're saying, and really I agree that when the land spells issue and items and spells things really gets built out, it'll transform what land is and make it more of a game in of itself. But to tie it back to your first idea, when this is spelt out, when this is no longer an afterthought, as to use your language, do you see how that will transform where the general perceptions around land? And you'll hear no more lamenting about the fact that like land isn't what it should be. You'll hear people saying, look at all these cool spells I'm getting, look at all these items. And so, and maybe those are going to change the game in a radical way. Now that's speculation. But you have to speculate on things like this. You have to think through logically to the best of your ability where things are going so that you can anticipate and prepare. That's my approach anyways. And maybe that's why you watch the channel, because I think there's ways in which you can grow or gain more significantly than others do, just simply by having a different mindset, a different approach, a different preparation, analysis, etc. There's thoughtfulness that can be done actively, that should be pursued. And if it does, you're going to have a clearer idea about what items and spells will mean for the game than maybe 9 out of 10 other players. And if that's the case, then maybe you've prepared or stepped into a thing that is quote unquote click and collect right now, but you're positioning yourself in a way that will predispose you to greater outsized returns when that grows. Again, speculation for sure, because who knows if land 2.0, I can't tell you that land 2.0 will for sure be realized, because that is a degree of trust and confidence and faith I've placed in the team. It's also, that there's not some sort of third-party black swan, like outside black swan event. There's things that I'm presuming and assuming are going to happen or not happen. And so yes, it's speculation, but if you get ahead as best you can, thoughtfully speculating on things that seem logical, I think that's how you get to a place of, while other people are fussing about where things aren't optimized, you can position yourself so that you're ready to take advantage when they are optimized. Now, let's see. Anyone participating in land farming right now is doing it based on promise. Yep, that's probably fair. And not even a clear promise. Okay. I think I disagree with that phrase, but let's go on. It's more of a fuzzy vision to us, at least. I think it's pretty clear, man. If you look at the tactic summoners, right, you can see what an item or a spell might do. You look at the battlefield, you apply the tactic from your summoner. 2+2 archery to these monsters. That is going to be the vibe of what items and spells do. And so I don't think it's as fuzzy as you seem to imply. And maybe if you think through that a little more closely, you might agree with me. I don't know. Let's carry on. The FUD towards land will continue until that vision is made clear. Yes, 100%. And it's got a target launch date. Yep. I would say even until it launches, truly, people will FUD until it's absolutely amazing and here and present and changed our game. That's what happens, man. People don't celebrate buying Bitcoin until it's at all-time highs. And then they're buying Bitcoin and saying things like, if this is life-changing technology, this is revolutionary economic technology, it's going to change the world, etc. Meanwhile, when it was at all-time lows, when you could have maximized your returns, you weren't interested, you weren't buying. And the same is going to be true for land, the same is going to be true for Splinterlands cards, the same is going to be true for SPS. The same is true for every equity too, by the way, every stock that you might be interested, or gold and silver, or, whatever the case may be. Things that you can put money into go down when nobody wants them. And when nobody wants them, you, part of nobody, don't want them. And unless you're like an odd thinker, you like set yourself apart and step outside of what the common, but you have to be 1 in 100, I think. It's if you follow the herd goes off the cliff, but it's like the individual who thinks these things bigger and beyond and steps back and tries to analyze, doesn't always win, but it gives himself a bigger chance at winning. I think you already know that. I'm just kind of preaching to the choir over here with John. I think he gets all this. Let's finish this thought here. I believe in Matt's vision. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Great. But the questions and concerns are legit. Yeah, they are. They 100% are. Especially around asset that was sold to us over 3 years ago. This is it. This is part of why people are lamenting, like the word you used earlier, because it took a while, man, to even get to where it's at, and it's not where it should be. So I'll finish on this one idea with him, and I'll do one more comment from a different video. The concerns are legit. You're right, because it's not yet realized. Land 2.0 hasn't been realized, and Land 1.5 is simplistic, particularly when you set aside all of the game within the game stuff I always talk about, which to me is very satisfying and absolutely needs to be considered, but many people don't look at it that way. They're like, well, I started my land, now all I do is click. Yes, but did you thoughtfully prepare in setting it up? I don't want to fight that fight again. I just want to say, I think the concerns are legit because no one can say, look, 2.0 will be out in 30 days, 90 days, 180 days. Not even the team, right? They've said dates before and then they've fallen short. And land is another, like a huge example. It's taken years to get where we are. Man, but if that uncertainty was resolved, there would be far less or possibly no opportunity remaining within land. I want you to track on that last comment. I'm going to say it again. If land gets to a place where it is so clearly impactful, it's transforming the game, items and spells are necessary, they're powerful, they're impactful, they allow you to win more and earn more, etc. It's changed the game in an obvious way and everyone agrees. Do you think land is still going to be low and affordable and, people are doubting it? No. At the moment it arrives, everyone believes. So I'm saying you need to decide when you believe in something before it arrives. That's the plan or the approach to sort of giving yourself a chance at outsized returns. And everything is speculation. Splinterlands is definitely speculation. So is Apple stock. So is silver or gold bullion. So is the house you bought. But the question is, can you thoughtfully prepare to a place where you feel justified in holding the thing that you hold? Not because some YouTube content creator told you to, but because you actually looked at the pros and cons, the fundamental considerations, the history, as well as the anticipated future and the likelihood of them realizing that. That's the path to setting aside the concerns around fuzzy vision and at least for your own heart and mind, seeing where it ought to land. And it's never a 100% chance it's going to land. But if you can feel, because of your research, that things are a likelihood, 80, 90, 70% probability that it's going to be a home run, sometimes you take that swing, right? So great comment, John. Thank you for the comment. Appreciate you, brother. I see another one, but I'm going to skip you because we just did, Jim. Okay, we got one over here from a different video. Our game is changing, better or worse. This was a comment or a video I talked on the rank reward changes and the leaderboard changing. Again, that's a throwback to People's Guild, that same video, 2 hours with Matt. And you're going to hear in there Matt saying they're radically going to change how the leaderboards work, how the rank experience works. You're going to move up as you win. It's not going to be a choice, do I want to stay in this silver or gold? You're just going to move up, and that's actually going to be better for you. It'll be better for the rank system because people will play where they should, where their decks allow them to, but then the rewards will be optimized for you at your optimal place. I hope he's right. We'll see if he's right, but that was the video. And Candid Athletic Training says, thought-provoking video, Dwayne, thanks. I've been thinking about it for a while. As a lower level player who's been playing for a while, here's my thoughts. Having a game that also allows asset collection can be a complex thing for some players. Part of the fun for me is the strategy to see if I can beat players that have clearly spent money on their decks. Yeah, I get that. So you're like, you wanna do better than somebody who spent more on their deck. It's like, you know, you go golfing with somebody and you've got a $200 bag of clubs and they got a $5,000 bag of clubs. If you can outdrive them, you know, that says even more about your talent. I get it. I'm slowly coming around to investing more in the game, but discretionary funds are just that and may not be there for everyone. I think there are a couple of key things that need to happen to encourage players to progress through the ranks rather than sit at lower leagues. I want to hear what you have to say, but it's interesting the way you're framing it, because you're saying that players need to be encouraged to progress through the ranks. And I would agree, because one, it's optional, right? It's currently optional. So you have to be encouraged. And if the incentive is not there, you're not going to do that. But if the game changes in a way where you're no longer you no longer have the option to stay, that'll silence the conversation in one sense. But then absolutely, the second piece of your same comment is that the rewards have to be present at that higher level. If you move me into silver mandatorily and I don't get rewards that are bigger than my bronze, I'm going to sell assets until I have a bronze deck. So this has to be done properly. But if it is done properly and you necessarily and without option ascend into a higher level because your deck gets you there, and if those rewards are better than they were at the lower level, there is no need for encouragement. It's just simply, that is the encouragement. You got better rewards, but it has to truly be objectively better. That's the thing. Now you say, number one, this is something you think needs to change. Some sort of tier-based SPS rewards for rank match like they do for brawls. Tier-based SPS rewards. Well, they do have tier-based. Oh, I see what you mean. I think you're saying like at bronze 3 you get certain rewards, at bronze 2 you get different rewards, at bronze 1 you get a better reward. And they did talk about that. If that's what you're saying, Matt did say specifically that idea. And then you say maybe multipliers of 1x for bronze, 1.5 silver. Yeah, they do have that already. Across bronze, silver, gold, you absolutely already see increased SPS. In terms of both the chest rewards, but also the how much you win. Unless I'm misreading your comment somehow. But then they want to dial that even to the next level, where at bronze 3 you'll get something, at bronze 2 you get better, at bronze 1 you get better still. So it should be absolutely at every single tier, there's growth. You also think the leaderboards could possibly reward the biggest ratings increases, maybe keep a top 20 overall at the highest level, as well as those players won't have to have room to go up. I don't know what that means. I think you're saying you still want a leaderboard at every level. And I think my concern there would be that if you had a leaderboard at every level, wouldn't you necessarily just, isn't that luck? Like, I mean, aren't you? No, it's not even luck. If there was a bronze leaderboard, you're going to create people and accounts who build the exact deck that gets them to stay at bronze leaderboard. And that might mean selling assets or, right? Because like my deck is too good for bronze leaderboard. I squeak into silver 3 every season. I'm going to get rid of some things. And you're going to, after a few seasons and some iteration, you'll dial in where you'll find yourself to the bronze leaderboard or silver leaderboard, which I think is a problem. I think they need to make it in such a way where there's no incentive except to move up. That is the sole incentive. And I think that'll drive rentals, card acquisition, more and more play, because the rewards will be better and better at the higher level, so you'll want to ascend. That's currently not the case, but I get it, that if it was, we would want to. And then finally, and this is the most important one, they need to get rid of the low card level reduction. The low card level reduction. You think so? If I can beat a player with lesser cards, that is part of the game. Yeah, okay, I see your angle. I think I agree with that. And I do think they've spoken to this issue. Now, I don't remember if Matt specifically addressed it in People's Guild video, but he did say that whole issue, that whole thing was really just one of the ways they try to fix the brokenness of the rank reward system. They wanted to make it so that you needed to have the appropriately leveled cards to fight at a certain level in order to encourage you to fight at higher levels or to get bigger cards. But that was just like a band-aid solution. They've admitted that, and I do believe that is totally going to go away when they can properly rethink how rank rewards will work. The risk of playing low cards is baked into your overall win percentage. Yes, I agree. In fact, I would love to see them penalize the players who play at lower levels with stronger decks. If you play a card below its current level, you get less rewards. If you play a card below its current level, isn't that the opposite of what you just said? The risk of playing low cards is baked into your overall win percentage. Yes, because low cards will cause you to lose more, presumably. And in fact, I would love to see them penalize the players who play lower levels with stronger decks. So if they can play higher and they choose to play lower, why? I don't know. I don't agree with that part. Like for instance, if I had 2 Furious Chickens, one at level 1 and one at level 10, I think that's a common card. There's scenarios where I would very thoughtfully want to play the higher level one, more melee damage, etc. But then there are situations where I would want to thoughtfully play the lower level one because it has no attack at the lower level, and then I can slip it into a certain spot where it can take snipe damage. And so I actually don't agree with the last part, but I think, yeah, that's I think it's great if the player can have more and more agency, meaning you can choose this or that direction, and your thoughtfulness actually matters as to how you win. But I definitely agree with the first part of point 3, which is that they need to get rid of the low card level reduction. So you don't get you don't earn less money when you play a lower card. That doesn't make any sense. If you can win with a lower card, that says something about your talent or your thoughtfulness, and you should be rewarded equally. But I would say equally, as opposed to a guy who has a stronger deck and chooses to level down. Great comment, lots of thought in there. Appreciate it, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks so much for your time and attention. I hope you have an amazing day. God bless.